Welcome to Masculine Journey. We're glad that you're with us this week, and we're doing something a little different this week for the show. We're having a lot of clips. We normally have about two per show, sometimes one. On a rare case, sometimes three. We're going to have a bunch this time because the topic's called "What are the clips that live rent free in your head?" In other words, what are the things that you hear that God works on you with? Clips from, I tried to say movies and TV shows, but no one really picked any TV shows. Anybody that I've talked to, it's usually a movie, right? It's usually something to do with the movie because maybe they build up more of a back story or something like that. But all mine just kept coming back to
Well,
movies.
Ted Lasso's still relatively new.
Oh, that's true. There are some good. There's good ones on the Ted
There's a
Lasso.
lot
for
of Ted
sure.
Lasso clips.
Yeah. And I've used some of them when they're playing darts and those
Yeah.
kind of things. But I sent it out to our listeners and people who are on our email group from the boot camps. And so anyone that's on our email group, I sent it out, and some of the people replied and gave us their clip and how God uses it. And so we're going to play some of those and talk about how God uses it for them. The first clip we have is it's kind of I put it in the folder, but I think any one of us could speak to it. And it's from the movie. Thank you, City Slickers, with Billy Crystal and Jack Palance is in this clip, and it's about these guys that go out to the West and they're going to herd cattle as part of a adventure to find themselves.
Dude.
Yeah, it's a dude ranch, and so we're going to pick up when Jack Palance, the guy leading the thing, is talking to Billy Crystal. So, anyone want to speak to that clip? I know I could say something about it. Robbie, I know you like this clip as well. Do you have anything you'd like to say about it?
How many times does God think that he's playing the part of Jack Palance? I mean, it's just, that's my thought.
I love the invitation, right? That's what you got to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of figuring that out is it's a team experience.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've prayed like, God, I really need to know, what this particular show is going to be about, or what I need to do in this relationship. What's my next step here? And he's like, well, that's what you need to figure out. and the beauty of that is he knows.
Yeah.
Right? If he told Robbie, look, this is what your sermon needs to be about, it'd be go get him, Tiger. He wouldn't hear from me again for the next, 3 weeks or whatever time it would be. But again, because of the invitation to go walk with him in that, it ends up with some of the best times of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the clip from the standpoint it makes you constantly have to look at what is your priority,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it seems like life is constantly throwing choices at us.
Yeah.
Right, and sometimes they're not good and bad choices.
Yeah.
They could be good and good choices, but there's probably a good and a better. Right, and it's a good way to kind of look at that and say, okay, what's the most important thing here for me, long term in my life, to go do?
I don't know. I mean, somebody early on in my Christian life as an adult told me to look at things differently. And I don't even remember who it was and exactly how they said it, but it was basically this question. If you're trying to figure out, is it a priority? Should I worry about that? Should I be upset about that? Those sorts of things, right? The question is really, am I going to be upset about this in 5 years? In 10 years, is that going to bother me? In 20 years, is that going to bother me? If Jesus came back tomorrow, would that bother me? And so that really helps you narrow down to what's the one thing today,
Right. Yeah, or in this minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go to a clip from one of our people on our email list, and they sent it to me, and it's from Sean in North Carolina, and it's from the movie Sling Blade. And so I'm going to go ahead and play it. If you've never seen it, it's about a guy that probably isn't all there mentally,
Mm-hmm.
right? But he's just doing his best. He's a good guy trying to get through life. Gets picked on a lot, but he's just a good man. And so here he's at a mechanic shop. They're looking at a lawnmower, and they call him over to look at it because it's not wanting to start. And so when he said Sling Blade, and I hadn't listened to the clip yet, I went and found it. I'm like, really? Really, Sling Blade? But then I read why it means something to him. He said he hears it most mornings. He thinks of that because it lets him simplify his life before it gets really complicated. To think about the things that are really important to him and try to keep the focus on those as his day gets very complicated as it goes on. And so I just thought it's really cool how God will use a clip that most people would go, all right, whatever. And it just strikes a chord with somebody. And it stays with them, and it's something that God uses to remind them of things that he wants them to remember. Okay. You guys are shaking your head, you can't hear that on the radio.
Well, I'm just thinking, not over spiritualize it, but it's like you don't have enough God in you, right? It's empty, and that is that priority. I wouldn't have thought about it like that, but you can definitely look at it like that. It's just you were saying about priorities or whatever, but of the day or whatever. But what is the priority of the day? To start it with God, and a lot of times we enter the day with no gas.
That's right, absolutely.
I got no gas in it.
I can't do something. Andy, I think was yours Rudy or was Darren's Rudy or whose was
I
Rudy?
put Rudy out there.
Okay, well I'm not gonna play it. I just want no.
It's not a big deal. I think that's a favorite of whose? Somebody else.
I'm assuming yours since it's in there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's out there, and it's something that you definitely. It's from Rudy. Rudy's trying to figure out things, trying to juggle being a walk-on at Notre Dame and keep up with classes and get his, I think, scholarship or whatever to pay for school and all. And he's just got all this pressure on him, and he goes to this priest, and this is the conversation. It's just one of those basic things that you got to get back to of alignment of what God's role is or what ours is, and we get those out of whack. And whenever we're not getting an answer to a prayer, we think something's out of balance, but it could be God has you right where you need to be. And I think that was what Rudy's case was.
Well, God used that clip for my brother's salvation.
That's right. That was one of them. I knew it.
It was something important.
What
Glad you're here,
happened
Robbie.
was we were doing an advanced boot camp. My brother came to it, and I had the sage talk, and I talked about how a sage's job is essentially a point man, point to God, and this is what this priest did. He just pointed out there is a God, and I'm not him. Well, my brother had, been to a boot camp, been struggling with his faith, trying to figure out where he stood, and I get a text from him about an hour out of boot camp. I'm all messed up. I can't drive. I got to pull over on the side of the road. I'm bawling. There is a God. I'm not him. And it was just one of the most remarkable events between him and his grandson. And they both came to faith that day. They both made remarkable changes in their life as a result of God using that clip.
Yeah.
There is a God, and I'm not him. And by the way, that's a fundamental understanding.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pretty basic. Yeah.
but I can't tell you how many times I think about it. There is a God, and I'm not him. And how many times do we try to play that role? And I heard another guy told me this week. He said, my biggest problem with God is he thinks he's God. And it's the same kind of thing. Like, yeah.
I thought that was a quote from First Herald 1:1. Because he's the one that I hear say it the most.
Yeah.
Which is good because
He's closest to God's age.
That's true. He knew God personally.
Yeah.
He got it face to face.
Yeah, he's just outside the garden.
Yeah.
On the fringe.
But I need to hear that. Yeah, go for it,
You want to
Harold.
respond, Harold? We just throwing you under the bus here.
Well, I think it's great.
Well, thank you. I'm going to use another clip that when somebody sent it to me, it's Steve from Ohio. It's a friend of ours from up there. And this is something that was from his childhood that he used a lot in his childhood. And I'll tell you more about it here in a second, but it's from Rambo, and I'm just going to play it. I forgot how good the actor he was. I think it's over.
And nobody laughed that hard at the theater. I mean, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't laughing, but
No.
man, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. You
Well, when
know?
you look back and you're like, oh, that was really bad.
Yeah.
You know, but at the time, you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. Enough that they did like 20 of them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but the whole point of nothing is over. I mean, you know, we as human beings find it so difficult to let go of things.
Right.
Well, he proved nothing was over the way he torched that town.
Yeah. Man.
Well, Steve was talking about that when that movie came out, he was a kid, and his friends and him would go out in the woods and they'd play Rambo. And they'd use that quote
Mhm.
over and
Oh, yeah.
over, nothing is over. Right? And he said it meant so much to him along the years, and they had so much fun because there wasn't video games, there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't all that kind of stuff that he enjoyed it. He told his kids about it, all the fun that his friends and he would have. And as I kind of emailed back and forth with him, you know, we talked about that was God just raising him up in a way for adventure,
Yeah.
for battle, for adventure, to have persistence, persevere.
Perseverance,
Yeah.
Endeavor.
Yeah, endeavor to persevere. Yeah, that's a good one.
You may hear side quotes along the
Oh,
night.
Yeah.
References to other movies.
But if you listen to the show long, you know exactly what that
Yeah,
movie
right,
is.
yeah.
We probably used it on 15 different shows, I think.
How about Joseph Wells?
Exactly.
You've got about 30 seconds.
Oh, man. Go to masculinejourney.org to register for the upcoming boot camp if you've been to a previous boot camp. If you haven't, don't worry. In the spring, we're going to have a basic boot camp again. We have a lot of good friends that have camps around as well. There's guys up in Ohio that do it, guys in Indiana that do it. So maybe if you don't know where to go, reach out to us. We'll help you find a place local to you, or you can come down and see us next spring in Georgia. We'll talk to you after the break.
It's never over.
That was good.
There you go. I got it.
That was great.
Sorry.
You want to do the open range?
Why don't you and I share this one?
Yeah.
So that Robbie doesn't have,
It doesn't matter.
Robbie and Harold doesn't have to beat up on this
Darren, what one of
weekend.
yours?
I can share with Harold. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Just
Just on the short one, you can't handle the truth.
Okay.
I mean, I remember when that movie came out and how iconic it was.
Mhm.
And that quote.
I feel like I have to just sit down and watch Braveheart all of a sudden. Welcome back. There we go. Welcome back to Masculine Journey. I'm just sitting here talking and not realizing no one can hear me but me. And so, which is pretty much most of how I feel most of the time. Anyway, no, that's an agreement. I won't make that one. Quotes. I'd like to tell you it's something that guys most often do. I think it's something that more times than not men do, but I think it also has to do not only with your gender, but also with your upbringing. Because all my kids quote movies all the time. You know, and that's partly because I quote movies all the time, but it's a lot of fun that we have together. You know, when something comes up and we can laugh at it. Right.
Can I take off here for just a second?
Why don't you leave? Go ahead.
If I want to leave, that's not the takeoff I was talking about. You know, just I mean, everything I submitted was stuff that I had picked up since I had come to the Masculine Journey, and all the while at Heart boot camps and stuff been to, and I didn't know a lot of these movies. I had a very select thing, you know, some stuff from Rocky and maybe Star Wars, you know, but there's so many, that's where
Princess Diaries.
no, that's Jim. Don't you associate me with that. But I guess the thing is there's a lot of truth in these movies. That's why we play the clips. And you have these iconic quotes encapsulated within the clips. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that these do really impact our lives. I didn't grow up around it, quoting movies as much or anything, or that wasn't a thing, but it has become part of it quite a bit, so, and there are things, the whole idea, I think Darren has the clip out there, open war is upon you, whether you would risk it or not. The biggest teacher to me, one of the things that opened me up to spiritual warfare and the way that it's taught within Wild at Heart comes from that, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate that. I think for me, it really got entrenched in me. It was in college. Because when I was in college, VCRs had just come out and you could go to a place and rent things. And my friends and I rented Caddyshack. Must have rented it 15 times and watched it probably 40 times. I can still quote just about every line from that movie. And that's just what we did. Friday night, we'd go to the video store, Stripes, everything was out of that era. Meatballs, some of the ones, and you can just quote them, because it was part of your as you're coming into manhood or already into manhood, and they just kind of meant something. It brings back special memories. My kids and I quote stuff we watched a lot with them, and it not only makes us laugh, but it takes us back to that memory point, things that we've done together. But I'm going to play a clip from you, Darren. You want to say anything about it before I play it?
Well, I could talk about it, but people probably couldn't handle it, so go ahead and play it.
Here we go.
I remember watching that movie the first time, and that line was just so powerful. And at the time, I would quote it, or almost everybody walking around would, hey, tell me really what that, well, you can't handle the truth. And we kind of made fun of it. Well, now, as a father and a grandfather, there are often times when people will ask me, well, what do you think about, or no, what do what should I? And that quote comes back to me. Now, I don't usually scream at them that they can't handle the truth, but it does go through my mind, and I'm like, okay, how much of the truth can they handle right now? And what it brings me to is Jesus actually says this: I have much more to tell you, but you can't handle it right now. I mean, he doesn't say it exactly like that. That's Darren's paraphrase version.
Voice.
It was the Jack Nicholson version of scripture, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're that way. People we deal with are that way. And wisdom is trying to figure out, what can a person handle? Now, I'm not talking about deceiving people at all. I used to be the guy that gave you the whole truth. And it usually, people walked away screaming or throwing things at me, or, mad, or, man, I'm never asking that guy again. That sort of thing. I've matured a little bit.
A little bit. I agree. I think in getting older, and I'm the third oldest here, I think, in the group. But in getting older, well, Harold and you and me. As I thought about, Art's a year younger than me. But yeah.
You are.
I just look really bad. But no, as you get older, there's a weird thing that happens. You get more discerning, but you just don't care. And that's a really weird thing to try to battle in your head. You're like, I'm just me, and I'm just gonna say what I think, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I don't want to pose either.
Yeah.
But you're more discerning, but at some level you're just like, whatever.
That brings up about 37 clips from Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah, it does. Harold, what's some clips that you really remember and you go back to?
They didn't talk in those original.
Oh, that's right. They weren't talking back then. Yeah, that's it.
They're just music bites, right?
Vaudeville.
Yeah, I like a lot of the ones out of planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah,
Uh,
those aren't pillows.
what's the temp? One. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think.
Oh yeah, well you love Secondhand Lions. That's one of your favorite
Oh, yeah.
movies as well,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite, is the one where Bub tells the guy that he's only loved one woman,
Hmm.
and a flea like you would never understand. Yeah, that's probably my favorite movie clip. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that happened on this show has to do with you, that movie clip, and Andy.
Yes.
When it was Harold's birthday one time, Andy took that saying, that dialogue, that paraphrase thing, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's a long speech that Hub has to the boys, and completely nails it and makes it about Harold. It is such an amazing thing, and it hit Harold to the T. I mean, it was everything about him. It was one of my favorite things on the show. So if you haven't done that, go look up Harold's birthday. Listen to that particular show. But Art, I'm gonna turn to you. You got to have movie clips that you like, man. I mean, you put one in the group, yeah, and you got to get on the screen so people can see the art.
Movie clips. That was endeavor to persevere. Juan Dottie said that, and
It's a work of art.
It is.
yeah, we'll go back to we'll go back to my word of the year there with that, and I'm endeavoring to persevere, and right now we're trying to persevere through this drought we're having in North Carolina, and trying to keep the cows fed, and it's I had to change a few things around to make some forage for them in the summertime, but so it's always, I guess it's trials and tribulations. The Bible says there's one after another that you have to persevere through in this life, and I guess there's another Josie Wells quote. That's not Josie Wells. It's one of the other. It's a Clint Eastwood quote from one of the other westerns. He says, and I feel that a man such as yourself can manage it. And well, I just like that saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Right Turn to Clyde. I didn't-
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
Every which way but loose. I want to go back. We have a lot of clips we could play from Bagger Vance. We actually have a few of them here. I'm gonna play one that I put in there because this is my original thing that I picked that I wanted to talk about the most, and because it's one I come back to quite often. And what's going on in the movie, if you haven't seen it, is Bagger, the caddy, who's really a Holy Spirit character, Jesus character in it, is helping. What's his name? Matt Damon's
Juna.
Juna. Yeah, Juna get past some woundedness in his life. And this is where they have a very direct conversation. And I want you to listen to what he says, and I'll come back and tell you why. It's that second part of that for me that really hits. It's not the I don't need to understand, but it's the everyone has a burden to carry they don't understand. Because it reminds me that I get stuck in the enemy's loop of worry, fearfulness, feeling like what I should be able to understand what I'm going through. What is this? What's this all about? And I think of this quite often. It's like, I just have to give whatever it is to God. Right? I'm not going to understand everything that happens in my life. Probably not going to understand most things that happen in my life, but God does. And so it lets me know that I have to remember to just let go and just relax. There's times, and it's been more and more as I've gone through my life. I'd say this last year I've done that more than ever. Just saying, okay, can I do anything to impact it? No. Okay, then I'm just going to let go, and it'll be what it'll be. But we love the movie Bagger Vance. It's one that we use a lot of quotes from. But anyway, I got to find another clip. So when you guys have to talk while I'm doing something here for a second.
Well, what you just said is huge. I have found myself praying more and more over the last probably just a few months, a phrase that sounds something like this: God, I don't have to understand it. I just need help. I don't have to understand it. I just need you to do what you want to do. I don't have to understand my wounding. I don't have to understand my, even, to some extent, I need to understand my repentance. But I find myself doing that a lot. And I think it was G.K. Chesterton that basically laid out the idea that if you must understand everything about God, you will know nothing about God. And we fall into that pursuit a lot.
I like the way you enunciated Chesterton.
Chesterton.
Anyway, we have some more clips coming up in our after hours. We have another one from a listener I'd love to get in. I meant to get in from our friend Adam, but we will be getting that in the next show, so please stay tuned. Or go over to your podcast, play the next episode. And if you're listening to us on the radio, go to any podcast place and listen to Mascone Journey After Hours. That's where we continue this topic. In the meantime, if you're wanting to go to a boot camp and you've been to one already, you want to go to advanced camp, go to masconejourney.org. We're going to be doing a bunch of new talks and a bunch of new topics, taking some things in deeper than they were in the basic camp. A lot of eye-opening stuff that God's been working on us with, and we're excited to share with you. We're not even quite sure what we're doing yet. I didn't know it was cutting out. Sorry, I'm off my game.
Well, they didn't hear that. They heard we're not even sure, and it did it perfectly.
Yeah.
So.
This is harder than I thought. This is hard to go back to.
Oh, yeah. That's why I said good luck earlier.
Yeah. Well, we got enough clips for this show.
Every time you pull up your phone during a conversation, you're basically telling your brain to stop
Oh,
listening.
see that same data.
Together. I'm kind of looking for something other to beat. Mm-hmm.
Look at her.
You
Like,
got any French fried potatoes for sale in there?
I don't think we do, unfortunately.
Well,
Skinny vanilla latte.
You say vanilla?
Skinny vanilla latte.
you got a skinny vanilla latte in there?
Yes, we do.
I've got coffee in it.
There you go.
Coffee kind of make me nervous. Mm-hmm.
Not one of those.
all right, then.
You said you wanted a skinny vanilla latte?
Yes, sir.
He does his face like that.
Is there anything else I can get for you?
You got any sweet tea in there? Let me get a big one. What? I don't reckon I ever heard of it.
He doesn't want to be.
Is that a big one?
Is that a big one?
Yeah, again.
All right, then.
Aye.
Said grande latte with skinny vanilla and then you can take the sweet tea. Is there anything else I can get for you?
I reckon that'd be all right.
God.
Yeah, again.
And the little kid in the back was going, ice cream.
Yeah, he did, please.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that movie again. I could used to imitate him pretty well, and it would. Denisha and Derek, we'd be, with a bunch of teenagers or something, and they'd say something to me, and I'd go into that voice, and they would be like, "Dad."
Yeah, my son Brad does it really, really well.
Does he have children?
Yeah.
Does he use it to embarrass them? Because that's part of the joy of having children.
Well, his children are adults now, so.
Well, that's even better because you can embarrass them and the grandchildren simultaneously.
Andy, what clip do you want to use next?
Oh, it doesn't have to be anything.
Well, I know, but I have to play something. So I'm gonna play Adams first, and then I'll play something of yours, something of Darren's.
What is Adams?
It's the Fix the Newel Post.
Oh,
A very descriptive clip.
Last time we did a show like this, I think I did the Every Man Dies. That's a good one, but probably what will you do with that freedom?
Okay. I just gotta see where it's at. You have an idea which one you want to do next?
I'll tell you.
We'll play your montage sometime in there, even though we've used
It's, the montage has the, what will you do with
Yeah.
that freedom?
Actually, it's not, I don't believe. I listened to it. It's a little bit, it's two different sections in that, I don't think.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't. It just says, you're right.
It's where he says Sons of Scotland and all that.
You're right.
But we'll have it plenty have Braveheart
Um,
covered plenty. That's a quotable movement. Unite the clans.
I tried to get that to take off on Facebook and no one will put anything in it.
Still,
But in time, when it's time. Your elbow starting
it's shrinking down.
did it flare up again?
Well, it did. I think it did some whenever I was in DC. I'm taking that turmeric that I was telling you about, and I'm also taking that tart cherry. I really haven't had any problems lately. I mean, just more of just, it's related to inflammation and arthritis, whatever it is. Not in a joint so much, it's like it just tighten my hips and stuff. But I walked my butt off when I was up there in Philly and DC. I mean, one day it was 27,000 steps. I don't think I've ever done that many.
That's a bunch of stuff.
It's like 8 miles.
It's hot too.
It was hot, and I was taking this. There's electrolytes are so key. I never really have done much with electrolytes. Mixed up a drink with,
You gotta be careful with electricity.
Light you up.
with like mineral salt and baking soda. Baking soda is good to de-alkalize or make you
Yeah,
more
acid.
alkaline. Yeah, more that gets the
Neutralizes.
you're
the
not
acid.
as acidic. But anyway, everything, and I can't believe, because I've been pretty sedentary, to get out there and walk that much and just be sweating. I mean, there were times when I thought I was peeing out the top of my head. I mean, sweat would just start just streaming out.
Oh, yeah.
You're dealing with it all the time. I'm
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah, 97 and 98 again
Yeah.
the next 2 days.
Do the My Name is Maximus, the gladiator. My name is Maximus. It was
I got
gonna
a-
be that or open range.
Got a guy I work with named Jeff. Have you guys ever seen where they have like 2 dogs on a clip? They'll say, "My name is Maximus," and then this other dog will try to do the same thing and crash and goes, "My name is Jeff." And I sent that clip to my friend Jeff. He's like, also he laughed. He said, "Are you kidding me? My grandkids have been saying that to me forever. I thought they made it up. I've never seen that clip before."
That's hilarious. And I love it. I love him. Just know, I mean, I never met him, but yeah. Yeah, I'm that age now where Carson and Lily and Vanessa will start quoting things that I have no earthly idea about.
Yeah.
And now Caden and Zoe are doing it. And I mean, I halfway understand the 6'7" thing, but you know.
I don't want to understand it.
You know what?
6'7", whatever, 6'7". It means whatever.
Yeah.
what is?
Yeah.
6'7".
Yeah,
I've heard that one.
Oh, it's been around forever. I mean, like,
Just
We heard
it-
just
We heard it as 220, 221.
yeah, we
That's
did.
right.
Yeah. Whatever it
There's
takes.
another one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about that one.
It's funny, we used that clip in all those early boot camps. Then we didn't use it for a while, and it made a rebirth.
It's just one of the best poser clips
All three
out there.
Yeah, all three of them. Only third one not posing is the kid.
Yeah.
I'll be at the gym or the gun range.
Well, I'd like to think I do. No.
You know, women.
like to, was it, I like to give you a shave, Ron, or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's got,
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a shame.
And I, yeah,
Want a beer? It's 7 in the morning. Scott?
yeah. I looked at a couple of Wild Hogs clips.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
those,
the best ones.
those
you
don't
can't
stick with me.
Well,
Yeah.
a couple of
Some
them
of
do, but you
them,
can't use it.
220,
Yeah.
221, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I use that a lot.
There's one from Wild Hogs I'd love to be able to use, but I just can't.
No, that's like a lot of them.
Martin Lawrence is probably in the middle of it. too.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about the biggest decision they have to make,
Yes.
the posers.
Yes.
Windows are saying.
Yeah, that particular clip. I'm sure we'll have people looking stuff up now that we're still in the air. Well, the two people will be looking it up as
What we have here is
well.
failure to
Oh,
communicate.
yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
one.
That's a good one. Cool
I
hand Luke.
have, I've used that a
Yeah.
lot. Cool hand Luke.
Strother Martin, is that what the guy's name was? That said that was the actor.
Yeah, Sam brings it, man. He not only doesn't only know the quote, he knows the character.
Welcome to Masculine Journey After Hours. We're having a really fun show, hectic for me, but fun still the same. I thought it would be a fun idea to play our favorite clips, that just short versions of them that God uses to prompt us, to bring us back to reality on something, to bring us back to Him. I often hear lots of things through that, or just quotes that we find funny. Yeah, Andy, you were saying before how we use one from Mr. Mom before we went on the air. You want to tell us again what that was?
Yeah, Mr. Mom, he's gotten laid off. His wife has had to start working. Her boss comes over and he's got to have an appearance that it's not a failure, that he's got it together, and he's sitting there doing home repairs with a chainsaw kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's just totally posing. But Ron asked him, that's his wife's boss, and said, what kind of electricity you putting in 220? And he was like, yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
So that's the one that comes up.
Yeah.
If you're of a certain age, of course.
Right.
But yeah, going back to one that one of our listeners sent in, there is the quote at the end of it. And what's happening, if you haven't seen Christmas Vacation, it's been around forever. It's played every Christmas time, obviously. But if it's not your cup of tea, it does have some funny quotes in it. And so on this one, Clark Griswold, who's the dad, has his Santa hat on. He's got a chainsaw in his hand upstairs. No idea why he has a chainsaw upstairs. But he's walking along and he hits the edge of the newel post and it's loose. And we're going to hear, you don't see that, but that's what happens. And he has a way to fix that. So here we go. And that came from Adam up in Ohio. He's a good friend of ours. And he talked about how his family loves to watch this movie every year. And he said, as you know, holidays can be always stressful and chaotic. And he said when he'll start to work on something and he feels that he's at that very kind of point of it's getting to him, he'll just come out and say, I fixed the newel post, and everybody start laughing. It brings everything back down again. Said that there's lots of quotes that they use from that movie, but it's always just something that grounds them again into a place of peace. And so it's kind of neat how God, like I said on the other show, decides that something's going to stick with you, right, along the way, that there's something that you just can't seem to get out of your mind. And so we're going to go to a clip from yours, Darren, if you want to talk about it at all, or do you want to play it?
Well, this comes from Gladiator, and the reason this clip sticks with me is this: when a man finally, most men are walking around saying, "What's my purpose in life?" In one way, form, or another, they're doing that. And when they finally figure it out, and usually it comes from God in the form of a name, kind of like a nickname or something like that. But this clip kind of goes directly at that, and it's not a nickname at all. It's remembering who I am. So the reality there is that God did create us in a very specific way for a very specific time and place and mission. And, Maximus has forgotten what he was created to do. He's taken on a new name. That name is slave. And so that's what he's been living as. And this is when he can't live that way any longer. And it's not even him that's, trying to pull himself out of it. It's literally the enemy that's goading him until he finally has to step up and say, no, this is who I am. And that, I call that today. I mean, every day, just about every morning, just about, I have to go back through and say, no, this is who I am. This is who God made me to be. This is me. This, and go through that to some extent or another. And that clip always sticks with me.
The beauty, I don't know how many times I've heard that clip, used it in many a talk, but I just now picked out something like, oh my gosh, listen to that. Darren, Andy, and I are listening to this Bible school, maybe Sam as well, that there's this idea of integration of yourself, right? And he names some of his parts right there. And think about how broken those parts are, completely different. Like, he was this general, and that was one of his roles, right? But clearly being a father to a murdered son is a different thing altogether. Being the husband to a murdered wife is a different thing altogether. And like Jesus has, when you think about this, and again, this was brought out by Morgan recently in those survival school videos, Jesus is the way, the truth, the life. He's a loaf of bread. He's a living water. He is a multitude of things that make this diamond
A priest and a sacrifice.
right. And lamb, you got it.
Yeah.
Fine.
So you see this diamond, and it has all these facets.
Right.
And what Maximus does there is say, look, a lot of my facets are bitterly wounded at this point in time, and he's looking for integration. And it's really a cool thing that, from my standpoint, I'm now discovering how Jesus wants to work in each of those particular wounded areas of our lives to integrate us at different points in our life that they were wounded. But it's a fantastic study and healing that Jesus has brought to me lately of my broken heart.
Well, I mean, to me, the most healing that I got, the biggest jumps that I've taken in life is when God has given me a new name. When God told me, you're dangerous. That at first felt like a wound, and then it began to feel, like, okay, that's what God wants me to be. But then later on in life, other names come along, that God is, that's for a season, this is for a season. And you never really let go of any of those things, as Maximus did not let go of any of those things, right? I never understood it as integration, but I am understanding it more and more as integration. But one of the things that I love too about that clip that I have to remind myself of, because there are a few things in life where I wouldn't mind having a little bit of vengeance. But he says, I will have my vengeance. in this life or the next. Well, I'm probably not going to have my vengeance in this life. But Jesus literally says that part of the reason he came was to reveal the day of God's vengeance. Well, that doesn't mean that all the people that I want to have paid back for their evils towards me are necessarily going to get it. It means that the one who's going to decide is Jesus and God, not me. And they know whether or not they will get grace, mercy, or whether they will choose vengeance. And you're going to get what you choose, whether that's grace, mercy, or vengeance. And so to be able to let go of that and say, yep, that's God's got that. I don't have to worry about it in this life or the next, honestly.
Yeah, when you guys were talking, it reminded me of, and I've shared it at boot camp, I don't think I shared it on the air, of my first name that God gave me that I didn't understand for 20 plus years, what he was saying. You know, because I was at my first boot camp and I went out and I'm like, oh, okay, everybody's getting these cool names, Maximus and all that. I'm like, God, what name do you have for me? Teacher. Really? I asked for something, you give me vocation. You know, and I would actually joke about that at camp and when I did that talk on the new name. And then one time I'd done it and I heard heard Jesus say, you know, that's what they called me. And boom, it finally sunk in. I never joked about it again. And it 20 years, it took me just to even understand what he had said. I'm sure his timing was perfect, but anyway, it was a hard realization.
Better late than never.
It is, and I'm very grateful for that. But Andy, you have the next clip, and it's from Braveheart.
It is. Braveheart's one of my favorite quotable movies. There's just so much packed into it. Most of it pretty serious stuff, but they just do a good job of articulating in the movie the main themes. And it's all based on a true story, and you just have to. I don't know that William Wallace really said this, but it's whenever he's rallying the troops. I believe it's for the Battle of Stirling, and he's just calling out the identity, and then he's casting a vision for freedom for his soldiers who most of them want to run and hide and give up, and because it looks like an unwinnable battle that they're getting ready to enter into. And we'll listen to that clip, but you just listen to how he calls out their identity, casts that vision, and we'll talk about it. So that last part, what will you do? I heard it for years. What will you do without freedom? Even though he just said that they were free. I just was like, I thought he was casting a vision that you don't have freedom and you need it. But Robbie pointed out, and I went back and listened to it, it's what will you do with that freedom? And the question for all of us is now that we are free, that you've been set free in boot camps, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to just stick it in your pocket? Or are you going to do everything you can to share that freedom and fight for the kingdom, for God's people, to step into that?
Well, obviously we struggle with that.
Yeah.
Because I think as Peter said, it's for freedom that God set us free, right? Paraphrase a little bit, but yeah. And because we forget.
Yeah.
The enemy's so good at enslaving us or getting us to step back into
Mhm.
things that we forget that we were free and we are free. We just got to claim it and live in it.
Right.
I was talking earlier about the movie Caddyshack, and so I do have a clip from Caddyshack. And what this is, you have Ted Knight's character, Judge Smales. He's the gruff guy in the whole movie. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities in Caddyshack, but this is one that God has helped me see a few times. And what's happening is they're playing around the golf. He's got his grandson Spalding with him, and they're walking up to the refreshment center. And Spalding's talking, and we'll just pick it up from there. And so, when I find myself feeling entitled that I'm due something, I will hear this. I think I'd like it. And it just makes me laugh.
Mhm.
Right? I want a hamburger. I want a cheeseburger. I want a hot dog. And I can get whiny like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have a tendency of humans to be that way. And each generation gets worse and worse because it's more ingrained in our society. And so that's one that I often laugh at when God kind of raises it to my attention. I'm like, okay, I'm acting entitled. I'm acting like I'm due something that I'm not really due.
Yeah, when I first saw the movie, I was amazed because I thought that mom was the only one that said that. And I'm guessing your kids probably, until they saw the movie, Sam, were thinking, Dad's the only one that says that.
Yeah, you get nothing like it. They never understood it for a long time. That was my favorite payoffs with them. Is when I'd say something for years, then I'd actually watch a movie with them when they got older, and then they would understand.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's lots of things like that. But Darren, I want to come back to you from Open Range.
Okay.
And so, do you want to talk anything about it, or you want me to play it?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the movie where the town has gone to pot and it's being, run roughshod by a couple of bullies, and everybody's complaining about it. And this has stuck with me because I was a lead pastor for many years of different churches, and oftentimes people would come to me and they would say, it's a shame what this church has come to, or something along that line. And I mean, oftentimes people would say things like, well, why don't you just go plant another church? Why don't we just split off? And God gave me the wisdom, or gave me the advice from a mentor at some point in time, to say, look, if you don't have what it takes to step up here and change things, you're not going to have what it takes to step up there and change things. So be careful what you ask for. And so this comes from kind of that idea.
That's fact.
And there are things that gnaw at them worse than dying. And that's the part of the clip that now some men will take that and go, okay, yeah, there is something that's worse than dying. Therefore, I'm going to make a change. Therefore, I'm going to fight this battle. Whether that's a battle with addiction, whether it's a battle with anger, whether it's a battle with, a situation that you have no control over, or whatever that situation is, either you can realize there are things that will gnaw at you and they will keep gnawing at you, and they're worse than dying.
Mhm.
Because dying, you're at least free from that. But if you don't rise up and be the man that God created you to be, you're going to have some things gnaw at you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you live in the I should have, I could have, I wished I would have.
Yeah.
Phase, right? Because there are things that are worse than, for me, some of the things that are worse are the things I didn't do that I felt like I should have. Right? That God called me to step up and I didn't. And I was worried about the ramifications of that. But the consequences of not doing it and carrying that is so much worse than what it would have been.
That's like the dude that buried the talent, you
Yeah.
just don't invest.
And I heard a phenomenal lesson about that passage from my friend, and you guys have met him, whether you remember him or not. Steve Buffkin was preaching for us weekend before last. And he talked about that, and he said, you know what, guys, I think all three of these guys made their decisions in isolation. They didn't know what the other one was doing. And what the power of that isolation is, or the power of brotherhood would be, if they were working together. And so that the point that you were making, that's the power of brotherhood. That you let, oh man, I should have done something, or I know I need to, but I'm fearful of. Well, when you're walking with a bunch of, not a bunch, when you're walking with a few really deeply intimate friends who know what God has called you to be and knows what you would be and what you would look like if you allowed God to, have his way with you, then they can remind you of that and they can say, I've got your back. I'm with you, heart and soul, like Jonathan did to David, or Jonathan's armor bearer did to Jonathan. If you want to go fight the Philistines, I've got you, heart and soul. Do what's in your heart. And if you're walking solo, if you're not walking with a band of brothers, you're toast. Because you're going to make decisions you shouldn't have done. You're going to not make decisions you should have done.
Right.
And nobody's going to be there to tell you differently.
Yeah, or you sometimes you just fall to eating the sand. You really don't have what it takes, right? He gets you with that old thing that's been around forever. You just don't have what it takes to do that, and that's a tough one. Andy, I wanted you to talk about the butterfly circus a little bit. If you would do that.
So the Butterfly Circus is a movie that we use at boot camp quite a bit. Maybe not something that you've heard, but it's about a guy, Will, who has basically limited arms and legs, and he's trying to find his place in the world, and he kind of gets invited into this circus where it's other broken people that God has taken and made something great out of their lives. And you've got this, I don't know,
The ringmaster.
the ringmaster, yeah, that kind of is speaking into him to try to get him to see beyond his limitations of his, physical impairment, and to really step in the way God sees him. And that's basically it. There's other examples you'll hear earlier in the clip before we get to the meat of the clip, is where it's giving examples of these people that God has done a great thing in their lives. So you'll hear that in the background. You'll be able to see it. But
The only thing I would add to
Yeah.
that at the beginning was what the ringmaster does to him, and he says something to Will, echoes what he's heard his whole life,
yeah, right.
and he's learned to believe it.
And everybody can find that clip on YouTube.
Yeah.
They can go watch the whole movie.
It's a great movie.
20 minutes long. Yeah. It's
Awesome
great.
movie.
Yeah, the greater the struggle, the more glorious the triumph. And that's, I believe, consistent with Scripture. I mean, so many of God's people were put in difficult situations, and it didn't look like they had any hope. I mean, you just look at somebody like David with, Goliath, but look at the glorious part of that triumph. I mean, is nobody in Israel had a chance against that guy, and he dared to believe, and so it made the victory that much greater. Look at all the faith that how Israel rose up, and they began to believe in God again, because they knew He didn't do it.
Yeah, that clip, we have to give our friend Mark
Right. Yeah.
Varner credit for that. He brought it to boot camp, and we started playing. I'm like, really? Really, Mark? This isn't just another Heath Ledger, whatever that movie is. The night, whatever.
Yeah.
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale. But it was really good. It was
Well,
quite good.
the name Butterfly Circus at
Yeah.
a men's boot camp is kind of like watching The Notebook at a men's boot
Yeah.
camp, which, we've threatened guys with that before.
Sure.
But yeah, when he said, "Oh, there's this great movie, Butterfly Circus," we're all going, Yeah, sure, Mark. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, you kind of sound like Robbie when he did Camp Rock. When he did the Barbie movie.
Well, the whole butterfly thing too is,
The Mermaid Princess.
Oh, that was, yeah, okay, Mermaid Princess, yeah. I played season 5 of Once Upon a Time. Sorry, these are all jokes for us inside, but yeah. Andy, you were saying something, I interrupted you.
the whole idea behind the butterfly, I guess, I don't know if people would get it, but you've got the caterpillar, he's just
Yeah.
coming in to become a flourishing butterfly, and everybody in the circus there does that, so.
Yeah, and there's a butterfly that flies throughout
Right, yeah.
the clip at different spots.
I just figured it out.
Yeah, that's a circus. I have a clip that I've not heard at a boot camp, but I saw it at work yesterday. And I went and I looked it up because I really liked the way the clip read. And then it really hit a chord with me that I know it's going to ring in my head moving forward. But it's from Back to the Future 3. And what's happened is they've done something and they've changed what's going to happen in the future, right? Because you always, if you've seen the first one, if they don't change things, Marty will disappear, his family will disappear. There's always something that has to get corrected, right? And so Marty and his wife come back in 3 and they're talking to Doc Brown and she's holding up something. She said, but it's gone. It's not here. What does that mean? Whatever they were trying to fix is no longer there. And this is his response. And for me, the reason it hit a chord is I am a worrier. I find myself worrying. I've done a lot better with it. I've given a lot more of that to God, but I used to wake up early in the morning. I've never had a problem falling asleep. I can do that in about 30 seconds. That's not an issue. But staying asleep has been the problem. And I'd wake up around 3 o'clock and just be worried about stuff. And when I read this quote, it reminded me that the only truth is what God is telling you. You don't know what the future holds. Right, God may promise you things and things like that, like he did David. Or he may give you glimpses of things in the future. But short of those that you can definitely depend on, nothing's written yet. Right? And so why stress about it? Let God have it and let him lead it.
Oh, it's cool when you think about the whole premise of Back to the Future. Is they're going back to heal wounds from Marty's dad. Think of how he progresses based on healing old wounds,
Yeah.
right? But in the future, it's a different story. You're pushing into that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go to masculinejourney.org. We do have an advanced boot camp coming up in November 19th through 22nd. You do have to have gone to a boot camp somewhere, one of ours or someone else's or one of our entrenchments. If you haven't done that, then you'll probably have to wait till spring when we have a spring boot camp that's going to be a basic, or go to one of our allies boot camps. You can reach that on our website. Anyway, it's been great talking to you this week, and think about the clips God brings to your mind and ask him why. We'll talk to you next week.
One that I thought of that I really like is the one